Vietnamese caramel chicken. A fairly easy, straightforward dish to make, but somehow today I turned it into an adventure. More on that later. But as Bob Ross has said many times, sometimes there are happy accidents. So let's get to the ingredients and let's start cooking. For today's dish, we're going to need chicken. We chose chicken thighs cut up into bite-sized pieces. We need some oil for frying and some ginger thinly sliced. In a hot pan, add your oil. Once your oil is heated, go ahead and add the ginger slices. Let the ginger cook for about 30 seconds or so until you can really start to smell it. Now it's time to add your chicken. Spread the chicken out as best you can in a single layer to allow even cooking with a little bit of browning. Let it cook on this side for about 2 minutes. You could use chicken breast here as well. We chose chicken thighs because the chicken will finish cooking in the caramel sauce later, and that long cooking process has a tendency to dry out chicken breasts. Now flip your chicken over and cook it on the second side for another 3 minutes. You don't have to worry about turning every single piece of chicken over. The chicken's going to continue to cook in the caramel sauce a little bit later. And that's a reason we prefer thighs here, because breasts have the tendency to overcook with the longer braising process. Then once that 3 minutes is up, you can remove the chicken from the pan. For the caramel sauce, you're going to need a tablespoon and a half of fish sauce, a cup of sugar, and a little bit of water. That's it. Sounds simple. This is where everything went sideways. I've made caramel sauce many times. I've always just let the sugar melt and cook all on its own. But I've seen people add water, so I decided to add water. But I added way too much water. And this is the result. 10 minutes later, this is what I'm still looking at. So after 2 more minutes of this, I still didn't know when this was going to actually start to cook and brown. So I decided to blow the whole thing up, start over. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of sugar left, so I used brown sugar, which is perfectly fine, except I've never used brown sugar before. So I put the brown sugar and the sugar in the pan, turned my back for a minute, and next thing I know, when I turned back and noticed, I've got Mount Vesuvius going. So this was followed by a few minutes of frantic stirring, and in the end, everything mellowed out, and I had an amazing caramel sauce. After about 5 minutes, this is what this caramel sauce looked like. It was deep, it was rich, and it looked like it was a caramel chocolate sauce as you're stirring it. So as I said before, sometimes there are happy accidents. So now it's time to add the fish sauce. When you add the fish sauce or any liquid, your caramel is going to seize a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. Just keep stirring it, and it will come back. It'll take a couple of minutes of stirring to get your sauce smoothed back out again. Allow it to cook for another minute or two after it's come together again. Once it's cooked for that minute or so, it's time to add a little bit of water. The amount of water will depend on the size of the pan and the amount of chicken that you're putting back into your sauce, because you want the water to come up to about 3/4 of the way up on the chicken. And once again, when you add the water, the caramel is going to seize a bit, not quite as bad as the last time, but again, just continue to stir it and it'll come back together as a complete sauce. Allow this to cook another minute or two until it comes back together again. And then it's time to add the chicken back in. Bring the sauce up to a boil and turn it down to a simmer and cover and cook for about 10 minutes or until the chicken is cooked through. After about 8 to 10 minutes, take the lid off of the pan. Allow it to cook for another 3-4 minutes for the sauce to thicken up. And while we're talking about the sauce, take a look at the color of that sauce, that deep, dark mahogany color we developed with that caramel. Now that you've cooked it, it's time to serve it, eat it, and enjoy it. Vietnamese caramel chicken. It was definitely an adventure getting here, but it was well worth it. We served it with rice and a little garnish of cilantro and green onion. The sauce has a deep, rich flavor from the brown sugar caramel, but you also pick up the salt from the fish sauce. And the chicken is not overcooked, which is why we chose to use the chicken thighs instead of chicken breast today. And one last time, I wanted to show you the mahogany color on that chicken. It turned out really amazing. A few missteps along the way, but in the end, it was worth it. Thank you for watching. Please check out our next video so we can continue our culinary journey together.